Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and dialing in. I've got some awesome information I want to share with you guys today. And I've actually got Brian and Gina on the line. And they have been doing something super, super awesome. I actually just heard about this, it seems like just months ago. And it's something called pad split. And if you haven't looked into pad split or know what it is, you definitely need to look into it. I think it's definitely the future of a lot of important aspects of real estate in the cash flow world. And so, you know, I think, let me just give a little bit of an intro to Brian and Gina, and you guys can interject. So Brian and Gina have been doing flips forever. I know they've got so many flips under their belt, and I'm lucky enough to have them as agents of mine at Gentry also, and also top producers of mine. And Brian and Gina got into the space of vacation rentals. And I heard some crazy statistic around like the Super Bowl time that there was something like 16,000 vacation rentals on the market during Super Bowl time. Is that true? Is that number true, what I'm remembering?
You know what? It's actually 60,000.
Oh, geez. So I was, holy crap. I was way off.
It's okay.
Okay, so 60,000. So obviously, if I thought 16,000 was a saturated market, 60,000 vacation rentals in the Phoenix area is for sure an oversaturated, crazy vacation market. You know, is it 60,000 in Arizona or like the Phoenix market, Gina?
It was in Arizona in general, but I think really what happened is that everybody and their mother decided to put their house up as a vacation rental, and so really saturated the market, especially during that time.
Taking time off and staying with friends and just putting their own personal home up for the week, and it was a bust.
So, yeah, so Super Bowl was a bust for the professional investors like Brian and Gina, but let's just even call it half of that, like, weren't the professional guys. I mean, it's just too many vacation rentals for that type of venue coming to town. And regardless, I mean, the secret's out, like, vacation rentals, I mean, everyone and anyone, it seems like, is in the business, and they're all trying to get into it and gouge. I mean, it's just not too much of a buzz or an exciting thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I have about 10 vacation rentals in Arizona, and there's only a few that I'm kind of excited about, like in certain areas, and we can go over that later. But it's just not something super exciting. So it's like, hey, what's next? And we got to be careful in real estate about the squirrels and the shining objects because you know we need to just focus and really dig in and make success where we're at. But I think the next thing from vacation rentals is this pad split idea. And I'll just give you an example, like what I've kind of been going through in the last 48 hours in my head with Brian is there's this house in Mesa, and Brian's like, hey, this would be a perfect pad split. And I'm like, hey, talk to me about it. And so he actually ran the numbers in his pro forma. And I guess you need to understand, like, what pad split is first. So I'll let Gina and Brian, I mean, like, just give me a definition of what is pad split. What is it?
Yeah, so it's basically a way for someone to purchase a home, and the traditional rental, you know, I think you have plenty of them, Spence. You got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. You rent the whole house out to a family or to somebody, and they're barely covering, if any, you're cash flowing at all with a traditional rental. So pad split, they come in the valley in this year in January. They're heavily based out of Atlanta and other states, but you basically take that same house, and instead of a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, you make it an 8-bedroom, 2-bath, and all of a sudden, instead of renting out the whole house, the whole concept of co-living is you're renting out a room. So there's a bedroom, and there's a common area, and you rent the bedroom out, and there's a kind of like a co-living area, a common ground, which is the bathrooms and the kitchen area, and then everything else is just you rent the room, and that's it. So you have somebody that stays in there for, just depending on the area and how nice, you may have somebody in there for, $200 a week, all the way up to we have our nicer ones are $280 a week.
Right.
So, Gina can step in about right now. She can just tell you kind of, how we give back, how this is a way to give back also, not just, hey, let's make money. So, Gina, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so when I first heard the concept of co-living and pad split, I was a little apprehensive. I could not wrap my brain around it. And so I had to really take my own perspective of how I would feel comfortable living and put myself in these individual shoes. So co-living is really set up to help the person that's making, the average person that's making anywhere from $30,000 to $45,000 a year, and they're not able or they don't have the credit to be able to live in a studio or an apartment. A one-bedroom apartment here in the Valley right now is about $1,400 a month. So I had to take my idea of what would be comfortable for me and say, hey, what do these people need and how can we help them have a safe place to live, a place they're proud of, and that, they're good. They're happy.
Yeah, they call their own.
Yeah, and so I really we just kind of like dove into this as a way that we're helping people out. So instead of, always thinking of the cash flow aspect, it's like, okay, yes, obviously we want cash flow, but we also want to be an ample part of the community and be able to give back to people. And so that's the way I see co-living and pad split, and it really just kind of embrace that ability to give back. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I thank you for explaining that, because that's actually answered a couple questions in my mind too of like what is this? So that's really cool. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
So Pad Split, that's just an app. So there's other, like if you start Googling co-living, they're all over the country. San Francisco, all different states. Everyone's kind of doing their own concept of co-living. Pad Split is like a tech company that created an app for hosts and members, which means owners and tenants, to share a platform. They'll apply, and then once the tenant is approved, then it shows them homes they can afford. They do credit checks, criminal backgrounds, all that stuff. So like a traditional rental, you can maybe cash flow, if you're lucky, a couple $100. This, you're going to be cash flowing a couple thousands of dollars. So
right.
It's not even remotely close. Pad Split does charge a fee. So, if you want to do your own co-living space and, fill it yourself, you can do that and save that fee that they charge. We're also in the process of creating a property management company that's going to reduce that and manage the place. So there's different ways to do, but the whole concept of co-living is kind of what we're talking about, and we like it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying what. So it sounds like Pad Split, like someone that just created an app, and that's not like the necessarily the name of the program is co-living. Okay.
Yeah. So Pad Split is based out of Atlanta. They've been around for years, and it's so big. They've got like over 8,000 rooms in Atlanta.
Wow. So
people ask, hey, are we going to reach a point where this is going to be too many homes in Arizona? It's not. Like the need, if you do the math and start going into the details of who makes $35,000 to $40,000 a year, that person in Arizona, there's millions of those people, not a million, but there's probably a million of those people that need affordable housing, and it's only going to get worse. Like Gina said, your basic studio apartment, which is not even a one-bedroom, is $1,400 a month. This gets an entry point of $950 or $900, and so it's such a cheap entry point for them to get in. They sign a month lease, and then it's basically week to week after that. That's how Pad Split does it, but other people can get longer term leases and get longer deposits. So if you go, Pad Split's we mentioned Pad Split because if you go on their website, it gives you a lot of information, and it's a good place to get information of how it works.
Yeah, there's a section, Spence, that says for hosts, and it actually will show you a breakdown. It will show you what a traditional rental house looks like as a 3-bedroom and how it's converted to maybe a 6-bedroom, and we'll show you a difference in the cash flow there. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
That's on padsplit.com, guys, and at the top left it just says for hosts, and you can go there and you can see kind of examples. And so Brian actually walked in like with his own example of this property in Mesa. You know, he basically said, hey, he turned this house into an 8-bedroom house, and you're going to rent this bedroom out $215 to $220 a week. You know, with the 4. Which basically brings us to at and around $900 to $950 a month for 8 rooms, and then versus the mortgage, your expenses for property management, and it was cash flowing close to $2,000 a month, which there's no way I'm going to even cash flow this property period at a little under a 400 or a mid 300 range, right? So just a little bit more about Brian and Gina's story. They got into like the vacation rental space, and it's oversaturated, and they just kind of had to switch gears, and this has been a great switching of the gears per se for them. And they've got now several of these properties in that they are working on PadSplit. And has it been an issue with you guys, like filling these or keeping them occupied by chance?
No, so, you know, PadSplit did a whole article on us because, you know, and to us it was done out of necessity because we had 3 vacation rentals in South Scottsdale that didn't have pools, and they were just doing awful in the summer. So we heard about PadSplit, and, you know, there was some fight about it because these are nicer homes, and would we be able to get the higher rents? And so we converted them, and then we broke records on all 3 of these houses. We filled them up, and one was 5 days, the other was 3, and the other was 5.
Wow.
So, you know, out of our homes right now, you know, just because it's a newer concept, in Atlanta, they say overall company base that the average stay is about 10 months. We're not necessarily seeing that here. There's way more turnover, which is fine because it fills up right after that. But we hover right around 100% occupancy. And, you know, PadSplit spends about $200 per room to fill it. So filling the rooms is never the issue with PadSplit for us. It's, you know, kind of swallowing that bigger fee. So that's why we've kind of tackled, you know, hey, let's go maybe look and doing our own thing because it's just a lot of money, 14.75%. That does not include managing it. So, you know, we're working on a platform that is way less, plus it's the day-to-day property manager that can manage the property. So if somebody is a professional and they have a 9-to-5 job, that they could buy a second house and start getting some passive income and building their future. Like, they can do this hands-free and still work their job and not have to go out there when something breaks. That's what we're working on, and that's what we're having that meetup about at the end of the month at your office.
Okay, cool. So he just mentioned it, January 30th. Put it in your calendar, guys. January 30th from 6 to 8 at the Gentry Real Estate office here in Gilbert. You're going to get Brian and Gina to yourself, and they're going to cover A to Z and everything. And it's going to be a super exciting meeting. You will definitely want to be there to learn more about PadSplit. So I really what a great call, and thank you so much for all the information. I know there's a little bit of a buzz about this, and that answered some questions that I personally have been having, and I'm sure some of the callers and will listen to this. So thank you, Brian and Gina, for being on the call today, and thank you for who you are. And please, you guys, make sure you're there January 30th from 6 to 8 at the Gentry Real Estate office in Gilbert. And we'd love to have you guys there, and I'm sure you can get more of Brian and Gina and more time and really just figure out how to get more cash flow. I mean, that's what it's about. That's what we're looking for. So anything else to add, Brian and Gina, before we head out?
No, I mean, we're excited. So, yeah, we're going to run down and kind of just give you an overview of what it is, talk a little bit deeper, maybe some numbers about what we talked about today, and then we're going to, you know, with you, Spence, we want to kind of work together, and we want to help people, like I said, that executive that has a job that wants to do a second house. We have steps A to Z on how to do it. So we've cracked the code of how to do it, where to find the houses, where to get the financing, how to design and decorate it, who who's going to do the construction, who's going to refinance it out with the DSCR loans at the end. So we've cracked that code, and we want to show people how to do it.
Awesome.
We're excited about it. Yeah.
That's really cool. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Brian and Gina, and everyone. Thank you for listening. Hey, thank you. You guys have a great day. Go out there and make something happen. We'll see you.
All right.